Hello and welcome to Unleash Your Courage. This is your host, Angela Schroeder. Whether you're joining us live on Turf Step Radio, live in the Facebook group, or by recording, we are glad you are here and super excited for my guest. Thank you for joining me today, Ben. Ben reached out to me yesterday about a virtual assistant. And instead of scheduling a call literally yesterday, I was like, hey, just jump on my show.
Yeah, it was
I've only met Ben virtually through Dan Plata and on Dan Plata's show.
Yeah.
But you always make me laugh. And I was just telling Ben before the show, I've been going through all kinds of tooth trauma in the last week. And I was like, you will be somebody that will get me through the show and make me laugh. So thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I actually have never even watched your show, so I don't even know what the context is. So I went through a long phase when I became friends with Dan, and I was watching his show every time. And then I started realizing that like this is an overcommitment, and I don't have this. I'd be like have it on and be like doing laundry, and so it now goes in phases. Now it goes in phases. So no, I need
It's
to. I
not
need
near as
to.
fun as his. I tell everyone, I was like, join me in a couple hours on Dan's show because that's happy hour. So we're
Why
just
isn't
drinking.
it fun here? Tell me. What makes it not fun? You said it.
No, it is fun. It's always a guest, and we're just diving into life topics, business.
I love that.
Um,
That's what we do on Dan's, but we're actually supposed to be talking about bookkeeping. You know, Dan's like, oh, something with his finger. He's like, oh, you gotta compare hunting and fishing to doing the books. And so you're gonna do great. I'm gonna do great. We're gonna do great.
we're gonna do great together. And I do
You
get to meet you. Do I meet you in person on the ice fishing trip?
do not. You do not. I bail on Dan every year on that, and this year I was really going to try to go, but my wife and our really good couple friend already scheduled like a long time ago. We had like a whole dinner and going to a wild game and hotel, and so there's a world where we could get together like before or after, and I could like shake your hand, say hi, probably hug you, but
There you go.
I am sad that I'm not going because every year I've not gone.
Because
There's
you
been
have
times I've
one
been
right
on the
by.
ice and say, "What's that?"
You're usually out there on the ice close to Dan.
Yeah, like, well, we're on the same lake, but like probably 15 miles apart.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
we've so that kind of leads into the whole VA thing and calendar management and all that type of stuff. Can I swear on this show? Do I have to not
Yes,
swear? Okay,
absolutely.
cool.
You can
Okay,
you
good.
can swear.
I'm really trying hard not to, and it makes me think hard. But like every year, it's been a weird calendar management thing. So on that note, I think Dan needs a VA. We do a lot of stuff together, and we're just trying to balance it. And I have a secret that I can't tell you that about Dan. It's bad. I'm Dan. Dan, I'm not going to the Boundary Waters with you. I'm very sorry. And if you see this, I apologize. We can talk about it after the show. I'm not going to go to the Boundary Waters with them. And I feel horrible. We planned it, like we locked in the plan today. And then I realized that that's my kid's birthday and I already had plans with him. And I don't want to cancel on him. So, but calendar management, it's just like trying to, because every year that you guys have, like Dan's on the ice fishing trip thing with, it kind of started with the BBB people, which you know what that is, right?
Yep.
BBB.
I'm
Okay.
yeah,
Are you in the
that's
BBB now?
I am.
Oh, I stopped
I
going to
have
that
been
because
I
I'm
have been
cool.
to the last year. Well, you and Dan stopped going when I started going last March.
So the two of us take way too many hunting and fishing trips, and it's gotten a lot. And it's become obsessive. But so every year it's been like I'm either out there with my family and he's doing it, or I'm out there with like somebody that I can't really drag to that group of people. So I just
Oh,
don't do it. And it's always like, okay, next year. And so I'm part of a really cool mastermind group that I recently found like a few months ago that came from a podcast that's more about parenting and fathering, and they have a mastermind group that I've really connected with. That is, I struggle with some of the mastermind groups that like the BBB because it was too business focused, and in my life currently, I'm not as business focused. My role at my company has become a lot less. I've hired out people, and they're better at most of the things they do than I do or whatever. I'm sporadic and crazy and bouncing all over the place. And so my role has become a lot less, and I don't know what I'm talking about anymore now. What was you saying?
Your
Dan?
role became less. I'm like, I'm fascinated now. I was like, well, tell me about how your role became less. So your role became less. So you get to
Well,
hunt and fish more.
keep going that
Oh
way.
no, that's why you're interested in a mastermind that's about
Oh
family,
yeah,
about
we can sum
parenting
that
and
one up
family.
quick. So like BBB was like really business focused, and I'd come back and it would be like the stuff I was learning. I kind of, and it's not that like I'm a great business owner and have like this great huge like I'm done, everything's great, I don't need to worry about business, but it wasn't really a focus in my life or my passion, and I'm very much driven to do this. Like I've recently discovered in self-finding that I've never ever been held accountable by anybody in my entire life, like ever. Like I didn't
Oh,
have very good like parental figures and stuff like that, and so I'm finding like I've always been a person that it's just like whatever's in front of me is the thing I'm conquering. If I don't like it, I don't want to do it. And it's like, well, that sucks. It's great, but it also sucks, right?
yeah.
Um so I was struggling with the business podcasts and or the business like masterminds and something I don't like about a lot of business masterminds is that when you go there and you're like, how if you had like 100 people, entrepreneurial people in a room, and you went in and it was a business mastermind, you're like, how's everyone doing today? 99 of them will say great, right? They're gonna be like, it's great. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're a fucking liar. You're a liar. This shit sucks. It's super hard. And so it just started getting me down too many paths of like fake relationships, or not really
Mm.
relationships, just like fake conversations, because you never know how much this person actually knows. Are they just like a coach entrepreneur and they just talk about being an entrepreneur? And all that stuff. So you're like,
Yeah.
you get all this advice flying at you, and it's like, is any of this tested? And who are you? Do you even love your wife still? Like, do you guys talk? Do your kids like you? So the podcast or the mastermind I'm in now really focuses first on you and helping you develop yourself and learn about yourself.
Mm.
And then it goes to your wife, your relationship with your wife, and then it goes to your relationship with your children, and then your business. And everybody's a business owner in there, but it's really focused more on like the other stuff that I've never really found in a mastermind group. And so it's been really good. And I've been really enjoying it. Um, because we get more real conversations where it's like doing what we do is really hard. It's great, like I have ATVs and I have boats and fun things and but I'm also $4 million plus in debt and all this stuff. So it's just so much emotion. So it's really cool to connect with other people doing what we do uh at that like more emotional level. So it's been really nice. It's been good, especially to just if you want to say stuff, just jump in. I'm just talking. Dan's good
No,
at
I know Dan would be like, Oliver, I love this concept of a mastermind.
yeah.
Um, I want to go back to business for a second and then dive on this too. But you are exactly right. So many times, the
Uh-huh.
conferences we go to, the speakers, the groups that we're in, podcasts that we're on, different things, those groups that we're in, business owners, you're right. It's like we are programmed. And this is what my keynote was just on, actually in Phoenix. We're just programmed by society, self-help books in business that you're like, I'm great. Can I use a
Mhm.
better word than great? I'm phenomenal. Everything in my life is awesome. Let's have a positive mindset and just say how
Yeah.
awesome it is. Instead of really diving into the struggles, and then
Yeah.
exactly what you said is problems that we have in our business and in our life begin with us. And
Mhm.
it people don't stop and talk about, like you said, being held accountable. I love that you identified that you've never been held accountable, but all of the weight that is going on us, like you said, as business owners, debt, the people that you're managing, rejection, failure, all that
Mhm.
breaks some part of you.
Oh yeah.
And we're taught to just shove it down and ignore it and not talk about how it feels.
Mhm.
And that bubbles out in ways that are terrible to our
Yeah.
partners, our family, and they're the ones that are affected by all these emotions that we're taught to just not deal with.
Yeah. And it's weird because like like if you're at a mastermind, and I don't want to sum all masterminds into it, but like the ones that I've been to, and I met Dan at the BBB thing, right? And he is my best friend now. We spend too much time together. Um, and so good things come out of it and all of that, but like when you say you have a problem, it comes down, and you know, I don't know where I'm at with, like, I believe in like the whole energy thing, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like if I'm putting negative energy out with people,
Yep.
it's gonna like, it's like you've all been around negative people where it's like, oh, I don't want to be around that guy. But like, so then if you're at one of these things, you don't want to be that guy. And it gets tricky because when I'm there and I'm just like, I don't want to be here. Like and we can talk about my little journey through my business towards the end here, but or towards what brought me here to where I lost a big sense of purpose, right? And we can talk about that. And
Mm.
that's part of what kind of got me down in the world. And so it's tricky because you don't want to be the person saying you're not doing good, because you never know when one of those connections is somebody that could bring you and your business, or you don't want to come off in a wrong first impression.
Yeah.
And all of that. So when you're there with the focus of the business, it's like, well, my business doesn't vote. My business doesn't hold a political agenda. My business doesn't care if you're LGBTQT. It's like you just want to be this neutral professional business thing. And it's like, but I do have feelings and emotions, and it gets hard. And so it kept getting to this point where it's like I have all these thoughts and ideas, but I just also wouldn't care because I'm just down and out and tired. Um,
Mm.
and so it just got weird. It just got weird. And so it's been really good. It's been really, really good. And I encourage people to talk to people. And if somebody in your group says something about it, I think that I've even done to people where they're like, yeah, me and my general manager aren't getting along. We're trying to figure out, it's like, oh, you just got to do this. And it's like, you think you can just slap solutions, especially as the people that we are. It's like solution, solution,
Yep.
solution, solution. And it's like, it's just not that easy. It's super easy to talk about stuff, but it's really hard to implement stuff, and so, and then even on that note, you get all these things that you want to implement in your business from these groups and conferences, and you're like, I'm going to do all this stuff. And then you come home and it's like, wow, this is really hard. And then you're back to the grind and you didn't do any of the shit. And then you're like, I'm a piece of shit. I didn't do the things. And so it's just like, sucks.
Yeah. Vicious cycle of now
Mhm.
you're judging yourself for that.
Yeah,
And you're right. Masterminds, those things that you go to have a place in connection. I mean, in making connections. I met Dan
absolutely.
in a mastermind. He came to Omaha to a mastermind that I was hosting. And you're right. Those connections, he became your best friend. I say he became like a brother and forever changed the trajectory of my life because I wasn't in the home service world. I didn't have the show. I
Sure.
wouldn't have met JC. I wouldn't have been in all this speaking tour. Like my life completely changed. And I have a lot of my best friends I've met in those, but those relationships have then become more authentic and places that are safe to be vulnerable and talk about things and talk about feelings. Um, but you're right. It's a strange, if masterminds aren't set up and the way it looks like you found one that is, that the context of it is set up appropriately to share that. Because other ones, like you said, I'm a person on energy too. And like what you cast into the world is what you attract. Um, but there has to be a place in a safe space between sharing negativity, like coming off as negative energy and like bringing other people
Like
down, because we've
mess up
all
your
seen
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just being vulnerable and authentic,
Yeah.
and that there's an environment to be able to share that, like, this is really going on and this is what I'm feeling. I'm not casting negativity on you. I just need a place to work this through without somebody putting a band-aid on it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
Well, we're going to take our first commercial break. I'm a little better
commercial.
at taking them on time than Dan. And then we're going to come back, talk a little bit about your story, have you like tell us about you, business and all things Ben, and then we'll dive more into this. So we'll be
Cool.
right back.
Cool.
You considered artificial turf? It's
Hey,
great
Kenny.
for areas with high precipitation, which means no mud after a heavy rain and no more mowing wet grass. Today's artificial turf is made using recycled materials and helps to reduce water consumption in areas of drought. Turf Envy's artificial turf is constructed of quality raw materials, safe for pets, humans, and our environment. With decades of experience, our staff can help with support, training, and product education to give you confidence when estimating a project for a potential customer. Learn more at turfnvusa.com today.
You're listening to Turfs Up Radio, the only radio station of its kind dedicated to the green industry. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Hey everybody, Wayne Vose, the Prophet, your host of Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio. If you listen to my show, you know I'm all about profit. As an industry, profit is something we fail to meet most of the time. If you're working hard but not seeing the results that you deserve, Profits Unlimited is here to help. We offer processes and systems designed specifically to make your company more successful, more profitable, and certainly more efficient. When you're ready to take your company to the next level, reach out to me at profitsareus.com. That's profitsareus.com. And don't forget to turn into Profit Time every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m.
Are you a military family with a spouse on deployment away from home? Did you know that nonprofit Project Evergreen has thousands of volunteers across the country ready to help military families with lawn, landscape, and snow removal services? We call it Green Care and Snow Care for troops. If you are a military family and would like to receive this free service, or if you'd like to volunteer to help, visit projectevergreen.org. Project Evergreen, creating a greener, healthier, cooler Earth, 1 yard at a time.
Busy work burning you out? Kick it to the curb and do more of what you love. How? With Landscape Management Network to spend less time creating estimates, tracking crews, doing job costing, managing invoices and payroll, and more. FYI, the average LMN contractor spends 50% less time doing payroll, increases profits, and lands more jobs. Put an end to burnout. Visit golmn.com/turfsup. That's golmn.com/turfsup to get started.
And we're back.
We back.
So we're going to kick off this segment like we do the first one sometimes and tell the audience, share with the audience just a little bit about you, highlight reel, business, family, anything you want to share.
My name is Ben. I'm in like the Twin Cities, Minnesota area, so the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. I own a few companies. The main one is called Marvel Sewer and Drain. We do sewer and drain cleaning, sewer repair, all like outside stuff. We do a lot of very specific no dig. So we install like sleeves and stuff and do a lot without digging. And that kind of got me into a niche in my industry where I was doing like a very true no dig. A lot of people will say like trenchless, which means they'll dig one hole in the yard and then do some stuff. And so we do a lot of it for our area, and like we do a lot, and it started growing, and I started as a drain cleaner, didn't know anything about business. I just wanted to work hard, and I went to a big trade show and bought a small kind of no dig thing. And by the next year, I bought the whole system to do the whole line, and things just kind of kept dominoing into growth. And I didn't know I'm undereducated and can barely spell things and all of that stuff. And so it's been a really crazy cool ride. My wife, Emily, doesn't think she did a lot, but she did a ton. And currently her position here at Marvel is much more important than mine. Like I don't even know why I have this office. I actually finally hung stuff in my office from like 6 months, like just yesterday, which I haven't done that wall yet because I need to get some deers to go on that one.
Oh,
But so it's been really cool. The other companies, I have a company that owns our building, so I bought the building that we now moved to and has a couple tenants, and that's in like the northern suburbs of Minneapolis. And then I have another company that sells the equipment, training, and material for the no dig stuff that we do. So I sell to some other local companies and some companies around. There's a few guys around the country, and so they're kind of very reciprocal all to my main company. It's been really cool. It's been a hell of a ride. We're at, I think, 15 or 16 employees now, and It's been crazy. It's been crazy. I got 2 kids, Charlie and Lucy, about to be 8 and 10.
Fun
They're
ages.
super fun, super handful. Great to have around. Charlie's my son. The older one is starting to take an interest in more and more work stuff, so that's been cool. Just as a kind of side tangent to what we were talking about before, where people don't talk about your feelings. So we are like an EOS company. We now have dubbed it MOS, Marvel Operating System, because we can't follow the rules heavy enough. And like this is like a couple months ago. We brought a new person. We promoted a person in our team. Her name is Pia. It's kind of like our office salesy marketing side of our leadership team.
Okay.
And I've known her forever. I actually hired her in my swimming trunks at a water park. She worked there, and I told her she needs to work at my company. And she's like, I don't know. And she was our server, and we kept talking to her. And then 2 weeks later, she's like, how do I start? And I was like, let's do it. And it worked great. It
Love
was
that.
awesome. But so Pia's first L10, which you probably know what the EOS stuff
Yep.
is, right? So her first L10 was like a couple months ago. I'm super bad with timelines. It might have been like 3 or 4 months ago. I don't know. But her first one I did remote. I was remote. So it's Pia, my general manager, Trevor, my operations manager, Cody, my wife, Emily, who does like the CFO stuff, and then me. And I was virtual. They were all here. I got talked over too many times and I got annoyed because I'd stop and then then I would get, and I was like, I feel like you guys can't hear me and you keep talking over me and there must be something wrong. When I just knew they were talking over me, but like I'm an emotional roller coaster. So, and then the second time it happened, I got mad and I hung up and I wouldn't come back. And then long story short, and it was my wife both times. The first time she kind of was. The second time, I was actually talking over her looking back. But I throw this fit and I hang up and Pia knows me, but she's like, wow, okay, this is how this is. And then I talked to my family about it, like we're having dinner with the kids. And I'm like, yeah, I had a tough meeting today at work. And because my son's starting to ask us about how things are and take interest in our lives. And I was like, yeah, I had a tough day. I had a tough meeting. I got crabby and hung up. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, Dad. And I'm like, it's okay. Thanks for talking, and then the very next week, I'm so moment by moment. The very next week, I was live, and me and my general manager got in kind of a pretty good argument. Whatever. It was fine, but it was nobody's yelling. I'm always yelling. But you kind of like heated, and I don't even remember what it was about, but it was difficult. It was annoying, and we got through it, and I was probably wrong again. I don't remember. So whoever's watching, I don't discredit that I was or wasn't wrong. I love you and thank you for your patience. And so I go home and Charlie's like, how was it today, Dad? And I was like, had a hard meeting today. And he goes, another one? And I went, oh shit. Like he remembered that like I have a back-to-back hard meetings in 2 weeks. And I just felt like such, I don't know, just like my 9-year-old just track that like I'm lashing out at meetings and being an asshole, and he's 9 and doesn't even understand what he just told me. And I'm just like, oh man. So then I came back in and I was like, I'm very sorry. Like Charlie had to point it out, and my wife is just like so humble. I would have just been like, yeah, go me, I'm right, but she's just like, it's okay, I love you. And I'm just like, yeah. So it was very interesting. So the whole family business, family dynamic thing gets interesting. I think me and my wife do it really well. But yeah, that was another rant. I kind of was talking about something. Now I'm done. Okay, go.
Yeah. And I don't stop when it's fascinating because the story is fascinating. And I didn't know that you had all of those. I haven't heard all of the facets of that. And it's fun when you grow a business that you have like you said, reciprocal things that you're able to not just grow the one channel, to do some like horizontal growth, not just vertical growth in one lane, but that it all makes sense. Sometimes
and it all kind of works together. And especially with the new big building that we have, we're able to house like a lot of material. So we have stuff on hand and I can send stuff off and build some really great relationships with people to, to help facilitate that stuff. It's been crazy. Like to think back, I guess it's probably like 10 years ago when I was really just kind of doing some drain cleaning. It's super weird that I'm here now. Like It's very surprising. It's like, I don't know why. It's
You
weird.
put the work in.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I love hearing you say about our kids totally do reflect.
Mhm.
Kids are like this mirror
It's
that you
crazy.
say, yeah, that you say things, and then when they echo it back to you, you're like, oh my gosh.
And especially because it's not just like they're like my son is so much like me. Like the shit that he does that drives me and my wife crazy. Like you can't even be mad at him because it's just like, nope, that is everything that I am. Like it's either genetics or he's picked it up, but it's super my fault, and I'm very sorry. So it's just like there's such a reflection of like who you are, and I've discovered so much of myself in my son, and like learning about things with my son. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
So Dan did an episode on his show, and it turned into a whole series. I think we did 4 weeks of around Christmas time, what it's like to be a business owner and raise kids, like that dynamic.
Mhm.
You know, it never shuts off, especially if your wife, like you guys, you know, are in the business together, what that dynamic is like at home, but what it's especially like for your kids, because it's so
Mhm.
different than like a 9 to 5 where you're like, go to work, and then they see you just come home and there's work and there's home, instead of it all being a life and what it's like. And my kids are adults now, 21 and 23. So they're even more funny echoes, I guess,
Yeah,
as adults.
they're way more
Um,
relatable, I bet. Yeah.
but it was funny. I was like, I told them about the conversation, and we were together having drinks and told the kids, I was like, oh, we had the show and we have this idea. Like, you should come on the show and tell us what it was like. Like, what did you think it was like to be young? I had a dance studio back when they were like your kids' age. So I had a dance studio, and then I traveled around the country teaching and training other dance studio owners, helping them become more successful.
Man, it
So
all
I
makes
thought,
sense why you got that smile now and all the spirit finger thing, and it's just like you're always trying to just like, I got it. And
yes,
it all crashed together.
I'm a performer.
Yeah.
So I thought I've carried this mom guilt the whole time that I was the single mom working, that I was always working. And their response when I was like, what was it like? Like, how is it like? They said, well, you weren't an entrepreneur. And I used entrepreneur, not business owner, I guess the word. And they're like, you weren't an entrepreneur until just now when you do the VA thing. I'm like, what do you mean? Who do you
Yeah.
think financed your life? I ran businesses your whole life. And they're like, no, you just played at a dance studio. That wasn't being an entrepreneur.
Yep.
So it's interesting what kids
Super weird.
catch
Yeah.
too. You know, they obviously thought we had a great life and we're flying around the country and performing at Disney and doing all this stuff, but they didn't think I owned a business.
Yeah. That's definitely happened here. It was just recently, like my son said something like, wait, he works for you? And I was like, yeah, all these people work here. Like, I don't like to ever say like you work for me or whatever, but
Yeah.
yeah, he works at Marvel and I own Marvel. He's like, you do? And I'm like, what? You know, and like, I mean, like, let me see if this. So like this is like these are our superheroes. Everybody gets turned into superhero when you work here. Like those are my kids.
Oh,
And where to go? Whatever. Those are my kids.
I can see
Like
it. Yeah, I love it.
my kids' school is a half a mile away. They are on the sides of our trucks. Different trucks have different superhero people. Like I will pick them up with trucks with their pictures on the side, and I'm like, what do you think was happening here? You know, like, but at the same time, some of my leadership team people have their own families made into superheroes and are on their trucks, and so like, I guess that they're like, well, there's just superhero people all the time, you know, and so it was weird, and I in all reality, it's exactly what I want because be I don't want to take all the credit for what's happening here at all. You know what I mean? So it's like it's good, but also it's kind of surprising because it's like it is a team of us, you know, but it was
Mhm.
weird. It was weird, you know, and then we are financially goodish or whatever. And so like my kids have ATVs. We live like 40 minutes north now, and we have like my kids drove ATVs around the yard yesterday, and then the other day he was like arguing with some kid that said he had an ATV. He's like, you don't have one. And I'm like, Charlie, like he might not. Like it's important to know that like we live a different life sometimes than other people, and we have different opportunities, it is. So there's definitely some weirdness to it, but it is surprising to me that like he didn't know. So to hear you say that about your kids, where it's like they thought you were just playing, and it's like, I wish I was playing. I was incredibly stressed out. It was super hard, and to do like it's hard enough to manage adults to do things. Now you got to like teach all these kids. Like my daughter was in dance. I see how it is. It looks like a horrible job. It's horrible. Like all these little mini monsters. I mean, I'm sure it's lovely and funny, but then they're just like crazy. So I can't even imagine. So like it's got to be weird to be like, no, I wasn't playing. I was working my ass off. You know.
And they're like, it wasn't like a business with stress, like this is a real business with like global people.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to them, I was like, actually, this was like a low risk entry business without overhead. Like that business, I had to buy a big commercial building.
Yep.
Had to have crazy business insurance for liability of people like breaking a neck on a trampoline. And,
Yep.
I was 23 years old. Yeah. All these dance moms and a tremendous amount of risk and support little kids. I was like, this business actually wasn't that stressful.
No, like it's weird because I can see where this looks more entrepreneurial because you're like doing podcasts and you're really like getting out there, and whatnot. But like as soon as you said dance mobs, the worst job that I ever had in my entire life. I was 16 because I could drive, and I did only 2 times. I umpired for Little League, and oh my God, like it just sent like shivers down my body. Like they were so mean. You mean parents, you knock it off. They were so mean. I'd be like, strike. They'd be like, that was a ball. I'd be like, I mean ball. And they'd be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm like, I'm not a guy. I'm a kid. I'm just 16. I just look big. It was. So I can't imagine dance moms where they're like, my daughter will be in the play or recital, and that other kid sucks. And I just, dance moms. They're scary.
They, for the most part, were amazing. I had great relationships. It was like I was living in a dream. I got to dance every day and teach kids that I loved, and it was a business. But I do joke when other people complain. When other people complain about their clients, I was like, they made a reality TV show about my clients.
Yeah.
Well, we have to take another commercial break. Yes, there's a show called Dance Moms. It's very
about
popular.
your people?
No, not my people, but like dance moms.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I got it.
As a clientele.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take another commercial break. We'll be right back and wrap this up.
TrueFuel is a high-octane fuel precision-engineered for your 2- and 4-cycle equipment. They use the most advanced synthetic lubricants and stabilizers in an ethanol-free fuel, improving performance, protecting your equipment, and saving you time. That means easier startups, smoother idling, and quicker trigger response, plus extended life for all of your equipment. TrueFuel is ready to use and easy to store, helping your operations be more efficient and reducing maintenance costs. We at Turfs Up use TrueFuel because we know it works and we know it's the best option. Check out TrueFuel50.com to learn more. That's TRUFUEL50.com.
You're listening to Turfs Up Radio, the only radio station of its kind dedicated to the green industry. Now you can even ask Alexa to tune you in when you're home.
Are outdated spreadsheets and whiteboard scheduling costing you jobs? Or is a lack of consistency between crews causing your bids to differ from job to job? Or worse, delaying critical invoices and payments? Crew Control offers all-in-one business management solutions fit for every trade. From bidding and scheduling to invoicing and integrating payments, Crew Control provides real-time visibility into your crew's efficiency, whether you're in the field, in the office, or even on vacation. Manage your crews more effectively and improve business performance with Crew Control. Start your free trial today at crewcontrol.com.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world, here's to all the women in the green industry. Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station.
Welcome back. Okay, so that was like some great insight, and I love hearing about your family. And I didn't know about the superheroes either. So many things we're getting. Like how fun your kids are on the side of your trucks and stuff.
Super fun. My dog's on the side of the truck.
Oh,
everybody's superhero. Okay, check these out. Hold on. I gotta grab this. Look at this. Look at how
Like
cute
now
these
I
are.
want to see all these things.
Look at this. One of my really good friends made us into bobbleheads. These are my kids. So like me and my wife are also bobbleheads. And they're just amazing, right? Here's those two. Here's hold on. Bring these other ones.
Oh my gosh.
Bam.
If you're listening on the
Bam.
radio, you're definitely going to have to go to Facebook. Look at you guys. Bobblehead superheroes.
That's my friend Dwayne. It was the most unique gift that I've gotten from a business person. Like he's a business friend, but a friend. But they like showed up, and I was like, oh my god, this is so thoughtful. So it was crazy. Very nice.
Oh, that is thoughtful. Okay,
Where
what
you
are we
wanna go
going
now? Steer me.
to dive into next? We're going to talk about the VAs. We haven't done that yet, but we can talk about that after off camera. But
Yeah.
I'm interested to see like what you realize you need help with. Like you said, you're overwhelmed in I think I heard you say you're overwhelmed in calendar
So
management.
I am notorious for being like, I hired my general manager, and I was like, yeah, just do general manager stuff, dude. I mean, go manage generally. I don't know. You know, like I don't know. Like a lot of people, I think, don't know what is available or like what is available to them until they know, right? You know, like it's.
Yeah.
So some of the way that I grew my business was going and shadowing other companies. I like flew over to other states and shadowed companies, and you get there and you'd be like, wow, look at this. You do all these things like this. It's just crazy because you just don't know what the possibilities are. As a small tangent, so I didn't start hiring office people until like I had one office gal that was helping answer the phones, and she was great. But before like that was all I really ever saw myself hiring. Not that I was like greedy or didn't want to pay people. I just didn't know. And I ended up having, so this is probably like 4 years ago, I had a job go really wrong, and it was like ruining a whole block of houses with a sewer thing. It was really, really bad, really high stress. And I was at another, I had to leave my guys there and go to another job to do a bid. And things were like burning down, and I just hated it. And so I get over to the other job, and it was a commercial business, which was an automotive repair place, which I've now become friends with that guy. His name is John. He's great. I walked in, I started doing the bid, and then I was like, I have to go. I'll be right back. And I walked out, I went in my truck, and I cried for like 35, 40 minutes. It was like really intense, like super. I called my wife. She didn't know what to do because I've never been like that. And I've never ever presented myself in that way. And so I told her to tell everybody to go home, and she tried to do that. And then everybody was like, you're stupid. We can help you. And that was really cool and amazing. The automotive owner guy came out and saw me crying, he was like, whoa. And I was like, I'm sorry, man. I'm just under a ton of stress. I don't know what to do right now. My world is burning. And then he talked to me for a while. It was really great. And then I talked to Kaplan. I don't know if he's ever been on your show. You know who Kaplan is.
Yes.
I was kind of becoming, friends, mentor type shit with Kaplan. And he was like, you need to hire a manager. I was like, I don't know how to do that. And so he kind of connected me with a person that he thought would be good. And I invited Trevor, who is now my current general manager, to go to lunch with me because we actually met 20 some years ago on World of Warcraft. So he is almost a virtual assistant. And he lived locally. So we kept in touch, and he did a lot of general manager type stuff for hotel companies and stuff. And so I was like, oh, he's smart. He knows how to do this. I'm going to bring him to lunch, ask him some questions about how to interview and to deal with a general manager. By the end of that lunch, he just wanted the job. And so he's still here. It's been 4 years. And so number one, things are hard, kind of like what we talked about at the beginning. And it's okay to cry. Boys cry, right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
Number two, don't underestimate the value of any type of admin. I think that especially like home service stuff, it's so hard to bring somebody on that's not like a straight revenue producer, because like it makes sense to me that my drain guys go out and make money and provide.
Yes.
But then I got this mooch general manager down here who's never really built out a job his entire life, but I would die without him now. You know what I mean? So it's I think that it's so hard when you're starting out and it's the thing that I tell people the most is it's like, don't undervet, because like all that stuff falls onto you. And I built the business to pay people to do that stuff, and everybody
Yeah.
gets paid well. But and it's not like I was like having parties with the money. I never paid myself more until like a year ago. Like I always underpaid myself. And so it was just like I just didn't know. You know what I mean? I just didn't know. I don't know. I didn't know. And now like there's people, I'm just like, more office people. And
And
so
that's a lot of people don't know, like you said. I love the way you describe general manager. I didn't know what the general, just like generally manage.
just generalize it, dude. I don't know. Just do it. You know, like here, go. Here's the money.
Generally manage all of it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
But true, we don't often know what's out there or what things can be done. As you're growing your business, you're wearing all your hats yourself. And suddenly, as you grow and scale, there become more hats. Hats that you didn't even know how to wear in the first place.
Yep.
And it is hard, those positions that like, you're right. It makes sense that you need another person. You can only do this many jobs yourself. And that makes sense. You know, in whatever home service business it is, I can mow twice as many lawns. I can mow 3 times as many lawns, 4 times as many, you know, that I'm scaling people, adding people that can actually do more work. But it's right. You always think that like I can do all that back end stuff myself. And that's what is holding you back, because then you can't work on growing the business and doing the things that you need to do. And stuff starts getting missed. Client experience is, you know, you're not getting new customers in, you're placing Facebook ads, Google ads, and then no one's answering the phone. No one's getting back with estimates. No one's following up with the customers afterwards. No one's billing. No one's paying. No one's paying the bills.
Burning down around you. You don't realize that there are literally people that can help you. And a lot of times it's not even like they will pay for themselves well. It's just hard to see that when they're not billing out, you know? And so what's really weird is, so I'm a big board game player. I have like more board games than you've probably ever seen in your life. I don't know if you play board games, but it's
I like board games.
What's your favorite board game?
Right now, my favorite board game to play with the girls is Sequence.
Okay, that's okay. I will take a picture and text you my board game collection. I have a board game table. Okay. I will give you better board games, like good board games. Great.
We could use some board games. Yeah.
What's that?
These girls we could use some board games. They're 11 and 13 and they like to play.
Oh, that's perfect. I have some great board games, like super great board games. But so there's this one called Food Chain, and it's very good at being like you're opening these little restaurants. Like it gives you that feel. You got to like hire staff and stuff, and it's like it's a big game, and I've only played it 2 times. And it's really fun and interesting. But both times I literally lost, because even this is when I had management people work. This is like a few years ago. I lost because I didn't hire office people in that game. I just kept hiring like workers, and so it was just like, it was like, oh man, like I thought I knew what to do and I can't even make it work. And like my other friend who was a business owner, he was like he hired like the guy that can manage all these people, and I'm like, I'll figure it out. And then at the end, it was just like I did the same thing in real life as I did in this stupid board game. Like, damn it, you know? So like it is very tricky. And until you have that freedom of having somebody, like I remember the first time that one of my technicians at the time, this is before we had Ashley who was answering our phones, he just said that I went to the trade show that I go to every year, and he said he'd answer the phones, and I was like, what? And the year before that I just closed because I didn't know what to do for that week, you know? And so he watched the phones, and I remember like the first job that he did, he booked, got paid on, and I did nothing with it. I was like, oh my gosh, this was so, how do we do this more? You know, like this is what I should do. And I still couldn't figure it out for a while until I had my like panic attack, nervous breakdown, whatever it was, you know? So like everything's doable. And I think that too often people follow like just what's like it kind of comes down to that whole not sharing everything that's happening, where like you follow someone and you're like, well, he did this. Why can't I do that? And it's like, well, maybe you just can't. Like we all have our unique abilities, and sometimes that's just a little bit different than someone else's, and you're gonna do bad at it or whatever, you know? So like it is tricky, man. It is tricky. So to know what other people can do to help you is tricky. So to get to your thing about like, what do I want a VA for or whatever? I don't know, man. I want to make sure that I can go to the next ice fishing thing that you guys go to. I want to make sure that Dan Plot is not going to be sad at me that I'm bailing on his Boundary Waters trip. You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that emails aren't stuck in my inbox because I looked at them and didn't care enough. You know, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so that's a great executive assistant. So there are all kinds of, just as an education thing for everyone, all kinds of virtual assistants. So we have people that work for bookkeeping businesses and CPA firms that are bookkeeper, that are CPAs. We have people that work in a lot of home service businesses, and they are an office person in a home service business. They might be a CSR, might be answering the phone, doing outgoing calls, managing the CRM, doing estimates, getting people scheduled, people that are dispatchers, you know, any admin role that you can imagine in a home service business. And then my favorite is executive assistants, which is kind of what you're talking about. And as visionary entrepreneurs, you mentioned it earlier, often we haven't had somebody that held us accountable. And that led to us being entrepreneurs. So it's a great thing. Even if people tried to hold us accountable, we wanted the freedom and flexibility to choose our own path, do our own thing. And that's why we don't work for someone. We do our own thing. But eventually that comes back to bite it. We need somebody holding us accountable for some things and somebody to manage us, to lead us, to make sure, like exactly what you said, we're not missing the things that are important. And an executive assistant literally becomes like your partner. Like you have conversations, strategic conversations, just like with your general manager of this is the way I want the business to go. It's these are the things I want my life to go. This is how I want my relationship with my wife to go. This is the priorities with my kids, trips I want to go on with my kids, times I want to spend with my kids. This is personal development that I want to do. This mastermind is important to me. I want to read this many books this year. I maybe have some fitness goals that I want to do. Like, what are the areas of my life that are important? And I want to do this in the business. I want to foster these relationships. Maybe like there were people that were important to you in your life, a mentor or whatever. And you're just like, I dropped that because I don't even know where the last year went. So getting them on the same page of like, this is where I want to go in life in all these areas. These are the key things that I want to do. And then one is holding you accountable that you're moving the needle forward on all of those things all of the time. That, you know, the month of January doesn't go by because it's scary to me that it's January 31st and that you're like, I said I was going to do all these things and I don't have a trip, you know, I don't have this vacation planned. I had to back out on this. So help you map out a calendar to figure it all out. How are we going to get it all done? And then, like you said, the email management. Like I might look at an email, I might look at a Facebook message and think I'm going to get back to it. But I want to make sure people don't feel ignored. I'm replying to them within 24
even like
hours.
with that thought where it's like, so often it's like, okay, I'll get back to that email. I'll get back to that thing. And then like it sticks in your, I feel like it gets stuck in your brain and it gets like all rattled around in there. And you don't even remember it, but it's still like taking up space and adding stress to be like, you know, because there's been many times even like with my wife, I'll be like, did you do this thing? And she's like, that was 2 months ago. I was like, but did you do it? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can let that go. And she's like, why did you still have that? I'm like, you know, it's like, it just gets to be like, when you're trying to like hold everything up by strings, it gets hard, you know?
Yeah. So my favorite tool I've instituted and that we train people to use, I mean, we do it not in Asana or Monday or something like that, but I literally just brain dump everything in a spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet has several tabs. One of them is Angela's brain dump. So I can always go in there. I have it on my phone, I have it wherever, and I can just be like, all these things need done. You know, I will think of something that, you know, oh, I wanted to do this initiative, or I'll see something scrolling through Facebook, like I wanted to get on that podcast, or we should be reaching out to these people. This person's sick and I wanted to send them flowers or something like that. It literally is everything that's bouncing around in my brain, so that can be siphoned through. And then there's other ones of like projects, like things you said for your wife to do or whatever. And then the team can update those. Like your EA can go in and say, you know, there can be notes by each thing so that if it comes, you can know it's out of your mind and it's somewhere on paper and somebody else is watching it. But if you need to go check on it again, it's there.
I love it. Because
JC
otherwise,
says
yeah, it
hi.
feels like
The
you
answer
lose
is
them.
no, JC.
No, I'm not going. I'm sorry.
Not.
I'm sorry. Can
He
you guys
does
hear all this
say-
noise above me?
He's having, no, we don't hear that. I don't hear
Okay,
that.
good. 'cause
He's
the
having a
electrician-
calendar management problem, which is why he needs an executive assistant.
Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why
Because he's
maybe
missing-
that
he's
executive
missing
assistant
the
can figure it out. We should
The
get together
executive-
before. When do you guys come in?
On Valentine's Day at, I don't know what time. Sometime.
We should try to get
I think
together.
around 1:00. Valentine's Day at 1. And then
Yeah.
we don't go out to the lake until the 15th, I think.
Yeah, we should get together. We'll get together.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, if you have time for me.
Yes.
I would like to meet you. Like,
That would be great to meet in person.
yeah.
Well, I can't believe I knew this show was going to go fast. And so can't believe we're out of time. I didn't tell you that there's one thing at the end of the show that we do. There's no format on the show when I was like, what's the show like? Except because the show is called Unleash Your Courage. And you were courageous and talked about feelings. That was really good.
Yeah, feelings.
But we
Chick
end
dig
the
guys that
show-
talk about feelings.
That's
Same.
right. Real men talk about
Yeah.
feelings. That we end the show with a call to action to the audience of what's one thing that you need to do to get uncomfortable. So we know that growth happens outside of our comfort zone. That's when we get more courageous. So it's something that you need to do to get uncomfortable. I could have an so I'm going to say one, you say one, and then that's kind of what the audience. So like one thing that you need to do this week to get uncomfortable. I was like, I could do an easy one. This ice fishing trip seems uncomfortable to me.
Yeah. You ready to
Since
poop in a
I've never
bucket?
done
You ready to poop in a bucket?
I know. Evidently,
Mhm.
it's all sorts of things like that.
You could get it.
And somebody said we were, ice or cold plunging. All of that. All this cold sounds cold. But I'm really going to say this was something at the beginning of the year, and then we've had all of these things happen. I had a focus of this new keynote, dealt with sick and this tooth thing, and it didn't. So I am going to be more vulnerable with videos and social media. I said that to begin with. I'm going to put more content out there and be like raw and vulnerable in the moment with my content. So that's my commitment in the next week.
So there's something that I'm committing to or something I'm challenging somebody to?
You're committing to. What's one
Damn it.
thing you need to do to get uncomfortable?
We talked at the beginning that I nobody holds me accountable, including me. Okay. I commit to understanding what a VA does.
Okay. Right.
No, so like in all honesty, like I would say I probably actually I got it. I commit to continuing to ride my Peloton bike. I got a Peloton bike and I'm doing it. And I've found a great accountability partner, and I commit to continue to be accountable partner. Oh, weird. I'm having him hold me accountable. It's going well. I commit to continue to do that. Is that good? Am I done?
That's good. He's holding you accountable. JC has to find, we just moved the Peloton down from upstairs. He has to find the cord for me. And then I'm getting a subscription. I haven't ever had a Peloton.
I like it. Like if you've never done the cycle, like I try to do classes. I didn't like classes, and I'm at a point in my life where I got to go from 2X to 3X or become skinnier, and I just don't want to do that. So I'm doing the skinnier thing, I guess. But then I bought a Peloton bike, and it is motivating. It's really good. Like the classes are good, and like
You're good.
it's weird. Like I just didn't think I'd care because I don't get into that kind of stuff. But like it's like you're on there, and like this lady's like twist the knob, and you're like, all right, and you're just going after it, and it's good. It's good music. It's fun. It's really fun. It's cool.
I'm excited.
Get after
Stay
it.
tuned. All right. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Unleash Your Courage. Thank you so much for joining me, Ben. We'll talk after about
Okay.
the VA. But if you're joining us again on Turfs Up Radio or in the Facebook group, keep liking, subscribing, and sharing. And what's one thing you're going to do this week to get uncomfortable? We'll see you next week.
Bye.